Hello, and welcome to Three Slides With. Today, our guest is Melody Beach, who's going to tell us about her presentation, The Journey. The Three Slides series of videos is presented by Getstart-ed and myself, the founder, Ed Lawrence. In the series, I ask people to show us the three most important slides from their presentation on a specific topic. Our objective is to present in a brief amount of time the most important concepts that will help you land a job or a transition to a new career. Today's guest is Melody Beach, founder of Melody Beach Consulting Group, a central Massachusetts-based company. Melody enjoys supporting her clients in achieving their HR requirements, whether it's establishing an employee handbook or policy manual, or increasing organizational effectiveness. Melody's client-focused approach shines in everything that she does. She began her human resources career with Fenwal Safety Systems, has worked for Rolls-Royce North America, and has provided human resources support to functions ranging from IT to business development, to manufacturing, and to the administrative side. Melody earned her Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Management at Newbury College, and her Master of Science in Leadership and Human Resources Management from Northeastern University. She is professionally trained and certified through the Center for Application of Psychological Type, and is a certified practitioner of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Melody lives in central Massachusetts with her husband and her 3 fur babies. She loves gardening, meditation, and yoga. She spends much of her spare time riding her Harley Davidson on the country roads of Connecticut and Western Massachusetts, or hiking and camping in the Berkshires with her husband. So I want to welcome Melody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ed. I'm really glad to be here and to really talk about those 3 important slides. So again, thank you for having me.
So tell us first, generally, if someone were to take the full presentation or workshop for The Journey, what's it about?
The journey is really trying to identify where you are, what you want to do, and where you want to go. Those 3 wheres, all right, are very important, the 3 W's. And that's really the journey. So typically when someone is at a crossroads in their life, very quickly, they need to decide where they are, what they want to do, and where they want to go, right? And it's really sitting down and really doing some self-reflection, identifying a lot of things, shedding a lot of things, and really deciding which way you want to go, or taking those lessons learned that you've had throughout your life or career or for your path up to that point, taking those lessons learned and moving ahead.
That sounds awesome. So let's look at slide number 1.
Excellent. Okay, so this is about really, the toolbox, filling your toolbox, all right, just a metaphor, all right? And what I really mean about that is when you're in a transition and perhaps you've lost your stability, let's say a career, all right, that you've been doing and going to on a regular basis, no matter what the structure is. There's some tips here that I think are really important when you're in that crossroad. So those 5 tips for the toolbox are really trying to keep a schedule. Keep that normal schedule that you were trying to do before, getting up. Instead of going to work, maybe going to the office downstairs, maybe going to the gym, going to the coffee shop, whatever it may be, but trying to keep that timeline. Understanding that while you're going through this journey and you're trying to find what you want to do, your next step, it's really about a job, right? You have to put time into that. You can't just mysteriously snap your fingers and it's going to appear for you, or someone's going to deliver it at the door, like on Amazon. Okay, so you have a job to do. You need to start remembering and reclaiming your value. don't lose sight of that. That's tip number 3. A lot of us, when we find ourselves in that influx where we don't have a place to go, we're not keeping that schedule, we forget how important what we worked so hard to do or get to at that point in our life, what value that brought to us and what we can do for others. So we need to reclaim that and stay on steady course. We want to always make sure that we're staying in a positive light, so present tense with everything. We don't want to be negative because that also affects our posture, our physical, our mental, our well-being. And, lastly, I don't think this is something we really need to harp on, but it's common sense. Tip number 5 is always be positive about anybody that you worked with. Don't burn bridges, that old saying, because that can come back and bite you. That's slide 1.
Awesome. Now let's look at slide 2.
So I said it's a journey, right? So once you've really decided where you want to go, all right, let's say you've decided, I think I might want to either start a new career by owning business and entrepreneurship, or I want to go work for another individual, or I want to work for a big box. It doesn't matter what we want to do. Some of those things that we need to do to make us stand out would be a marketing tool called a resume. There's a number of marketing tools that we can use, but let's just use the resume for this example. So this slide is really important and focused on the points of creating a resume and how to differentiate yourself, because that's going to be key in the job search, whether it's at a time when there's a number of people that are out of work or whether there's just a few. You need to stand out. So some tips again on this slide on the resume. All right. So what was the role that thinking about the role that you want to apply for and what types of industries or companies you want to work for is going to be important on how you identify that. So, keeping that in mind, right? Making sure that you identify competencies and achievements, skill sets, or anything else that would support the role that you're going for, obviously is important. Making sure that you have those technical abilities, those specialized skills and knowledge that this company and or the role is looking for. So again, you're defining and creating a resume that's going to showcase these things that are going to make you stand out, that hit the mark of what they're looking for, right? Tip number 4, again, it's all about attributes and skills. Again, differentiating yourself from others that have similar backgrounds, because let's just face it, there could be 5 program managers out there. What makes me want to hire program manager C that makes C stand out from A, right? So what do they have that the others don't? And the 5th tip on this slide is how can you use your resources to identify keywords to use in your summary. So again, you need to make sure that your summary, your resume, the job requirements or those accountabilities are aligned with the job description that you're applying for. Very important to make sure that you have the keywords in there and also the alignment that actually going to show that you meet the skills, but again, you go above and beyond what they're looking for.
Awesome advice.
Thank you. And number 3.
Are you ready for slide 3?
I am. And so on this slide, what I'm going to say very quickly is you might notice that there are 3 slides, but they're 3 slides from 3 different presentations. But these 3 slides in these presentations separately are very important. So that's why I handpicked them. In this slide, what I have noted here are some frequently asked behavioral questions from the business, the organization, whether it's the hiring manager, the HR manager, the recruiter, whatever you want to call them from a title perspective. And the reason I say that this slide is important is because a lot of companies use them. in their process. So you as an applicant really need to be able to answer behavioral questions, whatever they are. And so here I've listed a few. Tell me about a tough manager or supervisor that was difficult to work with. What made it tough and what did you do? So it's painting a picture, getting a scenario from A, B, and C. What was the issue? How did you address it? How did you resolve it? All tied up in a nice little bow. Okay? You want to be concise, you want to be thorough, but you want to answer the question because that's what they're looking for. Bullet number 2, describe a situation where you have worked under pressure or met tight deadlines. Again, a behavioral question like this is testing you, right? You need to be able to answer it, you know, and if you're not prepared, it can be a stumbling question for some. And so that's why I'm always about practicing before you go in for an interview. Third, third bullet here is describe a time when describe a time when you went above and beyond to make sure an internal external customer was satisfied. Do you think outside the box? Do you have to be told? I mean, a lot of companies now want a go-getter. They want somebody that doesn't need to be coddled, that will see something and be able to address it, perhaps put a presentation together or however you want to present it, put a recommendation together, put an improvement together, and show how they can either save the company money, time, effort, whatever the case may be. And the last one here is give me an example of when your management work style led to the success of a team or a project. Again, it's not about me, it's about we, right? So are you a team player? What have you done that has helped a team project? These are just some examples, but I just put those in there because overall behavioral questions are very important in the interview process these days. And I want people to be able to answer them in their own way, their own style. But the key takeaway is be prepared for them.
Once again, awesome.
Thank you.
So I want to thank Melody for showing us the 3 important slides from the journey. And I'm sure some members of our audience, some companies might be interested in reaching out to Melody. So we've provided you with her phone number and her URL and a list of services right off of her website.
Well, thank you, Ed. Happy to help in any way I can for anybody that's out there. I just need to know about it, and then we can chit-chat and we can go from there.
Awesome. So I want to thank our audience for watching. And if you need help from myself, you can check out what I call my advice column at Getstart-ed.com. And I certainly hope that you'll consider reaching out to Melody Beach Consulting also. Thank you again, Melody.
Thank you, Ed, and everybody. Bye.